to potential customers now. Claire Francis, an English tutor who believes she actually caught COVID and potentially doesn't want to go out just yet. And Kay McClure, who is an NHS medical secretary and who has been shielding since March. Welcome, both of you. Kay, do you feel safe enough to go out to the shops?
No, I don't. Not at the moment, no.
Why?
Well, first of all, I'm shielding, so obviously the guidelines are that I shouldn't go out shopping at the moment. But even if I could, I just don't feel safe enough to go out. I don't feel. I mean, when you see that people are having to wear masks and wash their hands in the shop, queue outside shops, I just don't feel safe because I can control what I'm doing, but I can't control what other people are doing.
That's interesting. Even if you could go out, you wouldn't. When? I mean, how long are you going to leave it? When will you feel it is safe?
Probably if there's a vaccine available, and if someone can tell me that COVID no longer is in the community.
Wow. So you would potentially stay in, Kay, until a vaccine was produced?
Yeah, I don't want to go out shopping.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go. I wouldn't want to go to a restaurant either. It's just.
I can see the thought of it is potentially filling you with anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just have no desire whatsoever to go.
Fair enough.
Out.
Claire, hello.
Hi.
What about yourself?
Hi. I feel pretty similar to Kay actually. So I caught suspected COVID mid-March. And I'm still suffering the after effects of that physically. So I'm not actually able to get out at the moment. But the thought that even if I was able to physically get out, the thought of going into shops, restaurants, public spaces, it really isn't an enticing thought because I don't feel safe really.
That is, that's so interesting because if you have had COVID, then there's a possibility that you would have some immunity. We don't know for how long.
Yes.
So potentially it could be safer for someone like yourself compared to Kay, for example, if she were able to go out.
And if for some reason, I was able eventually to get an antibody test and the scientists could prove that I had either a limited immunity or immunity long term, that would totally change things for me. But we're not there yet.
Sure.
So I don't really know whether I would be immune. So like Kay, I would be waiting until either a vaccine or the level of infection rates have gone so low that it's no longer a particular risk before I went even near a shop.
Understood. I'm really interested, Claire, in the fact that you said at the beginning you think you had COVID in mid-March. We're obviously now mid-June and you say you're still suffering the after effects. Just tell us a little bit about that, if you would.
Yeah, so I got ill. I think I was carrying it for a couple of weeks and then I got ill around the 23rd of March. And I had all the COVID symptoms. I was in bed for 8 days. I was pretty ill, temperature, cough. But the worst thing was shortness of breath. So a lot of the original symptoms passed after 2 to 3 weeks. But the shortness of breath didn't go away. So I did go to hospital for the day to get chest x-ray and tests and things like that. But I didn't get a COVID test because at that time they weren't testing the public unless they stayed overnight in the hospital. So but all the doctors in the hospital, my GP, the doctor I talked to on 111, all said my symptoms completely correlated with COVID. So now where are we? We're mid-June.
Yeah.
And I'm still actually not able to get out of the house. So I've been in the house, apart from the hospital visit, for something like 12 weeks.
Okay.
Because if I walk for more than 2 to 3 minutes consistently, I get very short of breath, and that shortness of breath can last for up to a week, which is quite unpleasant.
Yes, I
And
can
I
imagine.
also get, yeah, and I also get fatigue with it as well. So there are these long, drawn out
After effects.
after
Yeah,
effects that
that's so
people,
interesting.
I know that people you don't really hear about on the news when they talk about COVID. You kind of think it will be a 1 to 2 week illness, or it will get worse and you'll be hospitalized or worse. But actually, this virus is really, really nasty. And if there wasn't an immunity to it, there's no way I would ever want to put myself in a position where I could catch this awful virus again.
Okay. Thank you both. I really appreciate you coming on today. Thank you. Stay safe,
Thank
both of you.
you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Kay
Bye.
McClure, a Medical Secretary for the NHS, and Claire Francis, an English tutor.